What is going on, all my crypto friends out there? Everyone hanging out today on a Thursday, doing the damn thing. We are coming to you guys a special live stream today with another tier list update. You know, we've done this. I've done this tier list, and then we did a one with Kagi, a live stream. It was a lot of fun. And so today I'm going to be bringing on my really good friend, old school friend here, to help us rate these games today. Nifty Q, what is going on, brother?
What up, our Vibe, our tribe? I'm here to get schooled in some NFT gaming. Old school is right, Stash. How long you been in the game?
Man, you know, I feel like it's been about 20 years. I feel like it's been about 20 years. But Bitcoin's only been around for about 10, so I guess it can't be like that. But dude, we've known each other for a while and seen some trials and tribulations, the ups and downs. And gaming's always been there for me, but you know, it's just one of those things that changes quick.
Dude, it's crazy how far we've come to since those like CryptoKitties days when it was like, oh, we're going to create a game out of owning these NFTs. I mean, that was like literally another Nifty Q. I think I was even going by a different moniker at that time. So yeah. Fun times, man. I'm glad we're still friends in the space, and I'm happy to be here, man, talking some fucking Web3 gaming. I don't know if we can curse on this show, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I don't care. I mean, I don't think anybody else really cares. We're all adults here. Maybe there's some kids, but you know, they hear that shit all the time too, man. Let's not kind of like pull the wool over our own eyes. You know, that's just how it goes.
Truth.
Cool, man. Well, you know, without further ado, we're gonna jump into this tier list. If you guys have not seen the previous videos I did a tier list of my own quite a few months ago. And, you know, rated all these games from S tier, which is the best, to R tier, which is wrecked, just straight wrecked style games. So we're going to rate them in the same way. Now, the criteria here before we get started, just so you guys know, I've refined it. We're trying to refine it because the first time I did this, it was a little all over the place because I was just like, all right, we're just throwing them out there, right? And now, you know, people are like, hey, well, what about this? What about this? All right, okay, so, all right, man, we gotta rein it in a little bit. And so we did that a little bit with Kagi.
Mm-hmm. Start a ranking tier list at your own peril. Like, people will come in and be like, what about this? And what about this? We did it on our channel. It's a shit show. So
yeah, for sure. And you guys in chat, I want to hear from you too. As we're rating these games, I want to hear how you rank them. I want to hear if there's a game you think we're missing once you see the list we have here. So don't be shy, man. Toss it in chat. Talk as much shit as you want. But just the criteria here for these games is these games are all games that are playable in some sort of way, whether they're like a beta state or they're fully playable and they're like fully open to everybody. But all these games you can actually play. And that's something we've actually refined back down because we did have a couple games originally on the list where they weren't actual playable games. And I was like, okay, that's not really fair. So we want to make this to where they're all playable. So that's the first criteria. Second criteria is none of these games paid to be here. I didn't pay Nifty Q to be on this show either. No, there's no money involved in this, but we just sexual favors later, baby. But no, in general, people always ask this. They always ask, "Oh man, you must be paid to do that." Well, like no paid actors here. We're just doing this because this is a hell of a lot of fun, and you know we like trolling people.
It's a bear market. Everybody's wrecked, man. No one's getting paid.
It's a bear market, man. Come on, it's bear market content, guys. We're just trying to have fun with you guys. It's not about the monies. You know, a lot of other channels are focusing on it. You know, we focus on the fun. That's what my channel's all about, focusing on having fun. And this will be a lot of fun. So we're going to jump into it. Let's get to it. You ready, Q?
I'm ready, and I appreciate that you're actually making like an attempt at kind of laying out a recipe or a foundation because we don't do that on NFT Live. We just fucking wing it. Do we like it this week? Do we not? I don't know. So good job on that.
I try, man. I try to make it look professional. You know?
True.
All right, let's do it.
Fuck it, let's do it.
So here we are, and we're going to we're gonna just go. We're gonna go straight at this. We're not gonna beat around the bush. Now, the way I've been doing this is, you know, these are technically in alphabetical order, but we're gonna ping pong. So we're gonna start with the first one, then we're gonna go last, and we're just gonna go back and forth until we rate them all. And you're gonna talk a little bit about them, and then I'm gonna shit on your ratings because you know that's how I do it.
Okay. Well, I did that already for the Kagion video, so you're like paying me back. Apparently, this is.
Oh, is that? Oh, really? Did you do that? I don't know if I recall seeing that.
It was out of love, Stash. You know, content has to be made all the time, consistent. So it was a great one.
It's all good. I'm happy that you're here,
Okay.
man. So, all right, let's jump into this and just get going. And once again, like I said, everyone that's watching, I want to hear you guys' opinions. I'm gonna be looking at chat too. So, let's get to it. All right, first one on our list: Alien Worlds. Have you played it? Do you know it? Tell us about it. What do you think?
So the conversation we were having prior to the show, obviously I like dabble in a lot of different sectors. I'm not going to have played a lot, not a lot, but all of these, right? So Alien Worlds definitely, I know they've been around for a minute. I remember them starting out on Wax. They had a lot of like planet sales and a lot of action around that. I would let you take this one just because I haven't played Alien Worlds in a hot minute.
No, you got to. I don't rate anything. You got to rate them,
Oh,
and then I give my opinion. So
okay.
I'm not here for support. You got to put it somewhere. So based upon what you know.
Based upon what I know about Alien Worlds, I know they have a lot of daily active users. I know they have a lot of volume, which is something that you don't really have in the NFT gaming space, at least across the board. So I will go just based on usage. B.
Going B. Okay, cool. Alien Worlds is a B. Let me know what you guys think about that. Alien Worlds at a B there. Yeah, I mean, I might actually put them a little bit lower, and I've been a fan of Alien Worlds since the beginning. I was like one of their first supporters, but the fact of the matter is I feel like they've lagged. They've dragged their feet a lot on development. Tons of users, you're right. A lot of people, probably a lot of bots, but still a lot of users. They just kind of dragged on getting the things going. There was a lot of potential there, and I feel like they just kind of they exhausted their lead that they had on a lot of things. So that for me, I probably put it like a C or a D possibly. As much as I love the team, but like I got to be honest, got to be honest.
Yeah, Santino and Nehemiah coming through saying B. So and I think Santino even said C, so that he was agreeing with you. So I could go either way there as well. I feel like B and C are almost tethered together at this point.
Yeah, I mean they've had some updates. Yeah, they've had some updates here and there. So I think they're a solid C. B maybe a little bit high for me, but yeah, I respect that. So
awesome.
All right, moving on. This is a brand new one that we've just talked about, and we just played for the first time. Like big alpha stream that we did for the Walking Dead Empires. This is a brand new game from Gala Games and AMC, and they're collaborating to create it's like a survival MMORPG. Did you see any footage from this, or I don't know if you got a chance to play it?
I saw the gameplay for yourself. I saw the gameplay from a lot of the different creators. I would say, if not B, A. I liked the idea of having multiplayer. Like that's something I think is sorely lacking as well when it comes to some of these games wanting to go co-op or some of these games wanting to go single player. Walking Dead, I like Gala Games as a whole, almost at S tier, but the gameplay looked good. It looked like you were having yourself a good time. So I would go again, probably a B.
Going B. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, when it comes to the quality of games we're seeing coming to the Web3 space, I thought this one was pretty good for being in an alpha state. Fairly polished game loop. I mean, it's not super complicated game loop, but enough to like keep people really busy. I love The Walking Dead, so I'm probably a little biased. Are you a Walking Dead fan in general?
I was 20 years ago when we first got into crypto, and it was on its first season. So yeah, I didn't watch it all the way through.
Oh man, I think seasons 1 through like 7 or 8 were really good, and then I think I fell off after 8, maybe, or 9. I don't remember where it's at, but love the show, love the comics, like the graphic novels. Personally, I probably would put it in the A tier because I did enjoy it, and I think it's something that we haven't seen in the NFT genre, the Web3 genre. But B solid as well. What do you guys think about The Walking Dead? Did anybody see The Walking Dead, like the gameplay that I put up? Or did anybody get a chance to play it? If you did, post in chat and let us know what you think about it. What tier you think? I want to hear you guys put the tiers. Like tell us, man. If I'm saying we're talking about Walking Dead, tell us what tier you put it in. I want to know.
The way that I'm going to rank these as well is a little bit of like PTSD from me ranking things too high. And honestly, when I was looking at the Kagyan video ranking tier, that was like the whole reaction was some of these are at S tier. Like what is S tier to some people is different than S tier to other people. And obviously like it's all subjective, but to me, S tier is like you can't go any higher. There is literally nothing else that can go above this. So I think that is a little bit of a backlash from when we do these on NFT Live. Sure. So maybe it could be an A, but I'll leave it at B.
You've got S tier withdrawals. You just can't do it no more, man.
True.
All right. Now bouncing back around. This is a project that has been in development for a while. They just released some gameplay, and it actually looks pretty good. It wasn't exactly what I thought it would be, but this project is called Aurori. Do you know Aurori, the project, and what they're all about? Tell us about Aurori. What you think?
So Aurori looks good from the gameplay side. I thought that they really benefited on the timing of their raise. I think they got like a lot of money, and I believe they're in the Solana ecosystem as well. So they have that going for it. I like Solana as a blockchain that supports gaming projects in the future. I think they can solidify themselves there. I think Aurori, just again based on what you're saying, they've underwhelmed, and it was an exposure to the euphoria of those times that we like put a lot of hype around Star Atlas to come out soon. Aurori is the same thing in my opinion. Honestly, right now, I'm being super, kind of rough. D would probably be just because of the development. Again, I think I like everybody's tier list a little bit different. I'm weighted more towards games that are coming out like Superior that we were just talking about prior to the episode.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so what do you guys think about Aurori? Like, personally, I was in the same boat with you, and I was like, man, we're not really seeing anything. And then just like last week, I saw my buddy Bryson playing a demo of it, and then I saw some footage on their Twitter, and I was like, okay, cool, this actually looks good. But then when I kind of like compared like the battle scene, which is essentially all you're seeing, you're not getting the whole open world, but it was just the battle part of the game. To me, it didn't like they described this as being like a JRPG game that had these like beautiful like hand painted gouache backgrounds that were like, and I was like, man, that's a really cool concept. I love JRPGs. They have a very specific aesthetic, right? If you've played any JRPGs. And then when I saw the battle portion, I was kind of like, that doesn't really look like the way they described it was going to be. It kind of felt like a tactic style like battle sequence, and that's not something that I would really equate with a JRPG as well, like a tactic style, right? So that like to me, like I'm kind of right there with you. I might rank it maybe a little bit higher C because I think the quality of it was nice. It just wasn't what I expected, And then the open world part's coming too, and I think that'll be really cool. But yeah, it just the battle sequence wasn't necessarily what I was expecting. So that did disappoint me a little bit. And I told them, I said, hey, this is not really what I thought I was going to be, we were going to be getting. And they're like, what'd you think? And I was like, well, what's in the white paper? So I don't know what you guys think about Aurori here, but let me know what you guys think. I see maybe like a B tier for Mauer. Who else? We got Walking Dead C, a couple other. All right. Okay.
Yeah, still early playtest. S tier needs to be NFT playable, reasonable playability. I like that by Asmodai there, as far as like a S tier compatible thing. Yeah, man, expectations are a big part of it, and it definitely fares into my tier list, right? Like Otherside, which we'll get to in a second. I had like Yugo plays it close to the chest most of the time, and they did with that drop. Like we didn't know what the fuck we were doing when we dropped into that first what's it, trip, whatever they called it.
Yeah,
but
the first trip, yeah.
And the fact that it ended up how it was led me to have probably a better experience than them hyping it up and then it being,
That's true. We're getting to the other side. We don't want to talk too much about it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Game that's been around for a long time, Upland. Crazy llamas. Everyone loves llamas. Do you love llamas?
I love llamas. We have a llama in our community who is just fantastic. He's one of our moderators. I don't know much, if at all, about Upland anymore. I feel bad even.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if you knew anything about it, it's not changed much.
Okay. Let's go see. I don't want to completely. I haven't touched Upland. I'm gonna get so much Upland hate if I move him a D, but let's go to D. Okay, D.
Going D. Yep. Personally, I'm right there with you, man. Upland is not my style of game. I don't feel like they've made it more interesting. I've tried to jump in multiple times. When they first did it, I jumped in. I ended up flying over to New York from where I was at, or I was in New York and I fly to San, and I couldn't buy any property, and I'm stuck there because I got no coins. I can't make more coins. It was one of those things where like, nah, man, this is not a good experience, and like the whole interface, things like that, just not my faves at all. So I kind of agree with you right there with the D. Not wrecked. I wouldn't say it's wrecked, but just not really engaging game. It's not something I enjoy. Not something I like.
I love that you're not giving me any lifelines at all. I actually appreciate that as a guest because it's forcing me to make that call. Like I was almost like shifting it your way a couple times. You're like, no, it's your tier list, not mine.
No, see, that's where you're wrong. This is your tier list. I'm just the moderator, sir.
There you go. Yeah,
All right, here's a big one. Axie Infinity. We all know and love or hate. What do you think about Axie? Where's it going?
So just a little bit of context. I don't want to spend too much time each pick on the context, but CryptoPunks, when we were ranking PFPs, like were consistently brought up as like S tier, and I didn't have them at S tier because of the recent, I guess, non-actions that they've taken as a team. I mean, they were sold honestly to Yuga Labs from Larva Labs, so I got a lot of pushback from that. And Provenance was brought into it. They were one of the first. You know, that was what was put up there. So I'm thinking when you do these lists, and it's easy to say Axie could be wrecked, obviously, but when you do these lists, I wonder how much you put into, and I'm interested to hear after I make my pick, how much you put into that Provenance. Axie being one of the first most actually popular game in the NFT space. So for that reason alone, for just the fact that they took the space to the next level, I'm going to put them at C.
Put them at C. I will have, okay, not bad.
That's where I'm going to go. I do, like you, like Kagi, like everybody else, feel like they lived by the sword, died by the sword with the way they marketed their product. And they should have no bailout for what they ended up doing. But that's my pick. C. I'm staying at C.
There you go. C. What do you guys think about Axie? I want to hear in chat because I know everyone has an opinion on Axie. Let me know your tier ranking for Axie. I mean, personally, I put Axie in the wreck category, man. I don't give them the benefit of the provenance or like the history. It's great what they did, but it wasn't necessarily because what they had was amazing. It's because they took advantage and they just had great timing in a situation, and I think that really played a huge part in it. Versus like, man, they're just so great what they did, and this game is amazing. Like, in general, I never really liked the game, and then when we saw everything happen with all the tokenomics, and then bridge problems and massive hacks and reconfiguration and play to earn product, like it was just for me. I'm like, this is one of those games where like they were at the top, man. They were an S tier at some point. But now, in my opinion, like there's no coming back from what's happened to them. And even though they've changed different game modes, things like this, they have the Ronin thing, all the stuff. It's still a wreck for me. I don't know what you guys think, but definitely wrecked.
There's some comments in the chat if you want to hit those. People are lighting it up.
Couple people that it's like, didn't you guys see my thumbnails where I was literally dumping a gallon of gas on Axie in a giant trash can? Like, I mean, hey guys, you guys know what I know. So there we go. Axie, we're going C here. Nifty Q is going C. Okay, now next up here on the list, and for those that are in chat, like make sure you guys put your tier rankings in there, whether it's S, A, B, C, D, wrecked. And if you're asking about a game that you don't see here, just know, like I said, and you're just joining us, our criteria here was twofold, right? Well, really onefold. I try to pick games that are actually playable, games you can play right now, whether they're in like an alpha or beta state, but you can actually play them. Not games that are in development or people haven't been able to play them yet, right? And then also too, like none of this stuff is sponsored, just so you guys know. Just a reminder. But let's move on to the next one, and it's Undead Blocks.
The last point about Axie real quick, I want to make about Axie real quick is like, I wish it was a better game. I probably would have bought more Axies if it was a better game. To the last point, it was like the game sucked. It was just because they were the first. Santino's saying there in the chat. So I wish that I enjoyed the game the first time I played it, which was a time when the Axies, as you know, were a lot less. The token itself, AXS, hadn't launched at that point. We probably would have made a lot more money had the game been good, but it just wasn't a good game to me. So it's unfortunate. Again, a lot of people are talking in the chat. They kind of dug their own grave, but that it is what it is. So there's my Axie hate to jump on the bandwagon there as we sit here in 2022.
I mean, I'm right there with you, man. And like I said, a lot of things could have gone different, and they didn't. So, but all right, let's move on. So, Undead Blocks. What do you think about this game? This is a zombie shooter. What do you think about Undead Blocks?
I think I saw some highlights from this game. Again, one of the conversations that I wanted to have with you is like how you sell me as kind of being more of a Web 2 gamer. I don't touch as many games as you on the regular. I play Web 2 games all the time, but Web 3, like an Undead Blocks, I have not touched. I have seen some gameplay. It looks fairly, kind of like well put together in a sense that it's playable. So C, I would have to give it without knowing a lot about it. So
Yeah, and that's going to happen here, guys. You know, like we're putting a ton of games in front of people we're bringing on, and they're not going to know every game. Even Kagi, who plays all these damn games, didn't know some of the games we threw at him. You know, I'm an OG. I know all these games, bro. So but I mean, I got to pick them too. So in general, but I am familiar with almost all these games. So Undead Blocks, you know, personally, I don't know how you guys in chat would feel about Undead Blocks or how you feel about it. Personally, I would probably rank it like a B or an A. And the reason why is because they have a really great, fun game loop. It's very straightforward and simple. You load in, you have a different weapon, or you can pick different weapons. You know, right now, it's, you know, like I said, the game loop is straightforward and simple because they're still technically in a beta state. But you get in there, and then you just have zombies come at you in you know, increasing waves. So more and more are coming, and you're just you know, you're reloading, you're killing, and that's it. You're in like a little town area, and there's not much more beyond it. It's literally just, you know, trying to see how many zombies you can kill. And the cool thing I like about this too is they do a great job with engaging the community through like their tournaments. So they've been doing these 10K weekend tournaments where they say, oh, we're doing the shotgun tournament, or we're doing the, you know, the AK-47 tournament, or the MP5. And so you got to use that gun, and then, you know, they have rankings, and you can win a good amount of money, and it's sponsored, which is great too. So I like what they're doing.
Now I'm a competitive MFer, so I like co-op and I like PvP. Is this only single player at this point?
It is.
Do they have
So right, yeah. So
okay.
you're not playing it like actively against other people, but you're like leaderboarding, right? So like how many zombies did you kill in your run, and like how far did you go, right? Like, oh, I killed 526 zombies, and I'm ranked number 1 on the leaderboard, and I then you would earn the most, you know.
Okay. A little harsh on my ranking with C. I like the graphics. I think that the game looks good, right? I'm watching it as we kind of talk out here right now. The one thing I would say is I would put him up at B if it was some type of multiplayer aspect. That's just what I need to play games.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. Multiplayer would definitely, I think, kick it up a notch as well. Easy in crypto, I don't know what you mean about me breaking my own rules. Like I said, everything on this list, I mean, there was one rules, like they should all be playable in some sort of form. So I feel like all these definitely did that. But let me know where you think that I went wrong there. But I'll just for you, I'll try and make it a change. All right. So all right, next on the list, this is a new game. This is a game I haven't necessarily played, but we just like covered it on the channel. We're just getting ready to cover this on the channel. We covered it on the channel actually today, in a video. But it's a fun, because I'm not a mobile gamer. But Benji Bananas has definitely come up to the top of the list multiple times when we're talking about mobile crypto games. They're actually well polished, have a great game loop, and there's actually a pretty decent, you know, built-in play-to-earn mechanic. And you're earning ape coin essentially in Benji Bananas, which you can kind of like cash out and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Stumping on my bags while you play Benji Bananas. That makes sense, guys. I'm watching a little bit of the gameplay now. Mobile gaming, I think, is obviously like traditional gaming is going to be a large part of the crypto and Web3 ecosystem. So I'll put Benji Bananas at, again, I think if you put out a playable game and it looks all right and it has good functionality, I'll probably put you at C. I'm not going to like really target you at all. So I'd give them another C, but I'm also not a mobile gamer. So again, we're kind of running into a run of games that I'm not in every day.
Sure, and that happens. And like I said, I'm not doing all these every day either. So, easy. He says he was just joking with me. He's just He's just yanking the old stash. He's yanking on the old stash there. He's like, oh, you were throwing Q the lifeline. Don't give him no lifelines. All right, I got you.
Let me drown here.
Zytron, what's going on, man? Good to see you in chat. Okay, so moving on. Benji Bananas, yeah, I mean, I would probably rank it like a B or a C as well, just because, you know, I rate these things based upon like I go the way I kind of rate games here in these tier lists is personally I rate it on two things: whether I actually like it, like personally, I'm like, oh, it's not my style of game, or no, I'm not really a fan of it, and then also try and be objective of like, well, but is it actually a good game? Did they get a good game loop? Is it do other people like this too? So I kind of go off both things, right? Like, and so Benji Bananas, definitely a game I could see lots of people playing because it's an easy mobile clicker. Kind of reminds me of Pitfall, but like updated with the monkey and then you earn tokens and stuff. But I'm not a big mobile gamer either, man. I don't sit around playing mobile games. Yeah, it's just not my jazz, you know, not my thing.
Yeah. A ton of people do. So it's going to be a huge market. Yeah. Fancy Birds is another one. I think that's a mobile game type piece there that they'll eventually hopefully put out a product, and we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep moving on. Townstar been around. Gala Games. What do you think? They've had
I
a
feel
big
like
development recently. I'm not gonna tell you what it was if you don't know, but I'll tell you after you rate it.
I will anything right now that's Gala Games, in my opinion, deserves to be B or higher. I would say let's put Townstar at an A. Just be I really
Okay.
do feel like right now, from my experience and what I'm seeing, they are the class of putting out playable games that feel
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
they should be, playable and people would like it. Gamers will like it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. What do you guys think about Townstar? Because there was some big updates to Townstar here recently, and I want to know because I know that there's a big divide here. I too am a big fan of Gala and what they're doing. Love what Gala's doing, in general. Townstar was really their first like in-house game, and I think that what I see here is that they originally they wanted to be a game development studio, but quickly and they started with Townstar, and that was like their first thing they put out. And I think that they just didn't do the best job of like getting the tokenomics together, getting the gameplay together, thinking long term on it. And so they
Mhm.
quickly kind of realized like, hey, we're going to do better as a game producer, like publisher. And that's kind of I feel like the direction they've now gone. Like they're not going to do any more in-house games. I don't think. I don't think they're maybe Townstar, maybe
Yeah.
Mirandus, but I think that's it. Personally, with the updates where they're like, hey, you know what, we're removing Town Coin. There's not going to be a play to earn element. I think that was a big blow to the game and to why people were continuing to play it. I might put it in the rec category, man, if I had to rate it right now.
Oof.
But yeah, dude, but it might be D, D or rec
Yeah.
because it's still a game. It's still playable, but I think
Yeah.
that there are some issues they have to go back and fix. So I mean, that's to me, that's like to have a game out this long and then have to
Yeah.
remove the play to earn element. You're kind of wrecked, man, as a game. What do you think
Yeah.
about that, just in general, objectively?
Well, the space in general, I feel like is moving to this point where we're looking objectively at Axie Infinity and what happened with that and other games and saying, shit, we can't just, add a tokenomics aspect. Phantom Galaxies is a great example of this. I think they're taking their time with releasing
Yes.
the play to earn aspect because you can't just do it, especially in a bear market. You can't just say, oh, we're just going to add this token and we're going to start distributing tokens to
Yeah.
the folks. And then you just, I'm kind of bouncing around here, but I do think this hits at the heart of why I'm so bullish on gaming is because you do have the influx of people that want to buy things with
Right.
their money. You know what I mean? Like you see that at
Yeah.
scale, but I don't feel
Yeah.
like anybody's really tapped into it in the gaming space just because we don't have good games at this point. Like
Yeah.
good games, I mean like great games,
Yeah, and I think they're coming, and there's a couple here that are coming up now that we're going to talk about that I think that are going to fit that category. Big time. What do you guys what do you guys in chat think about big time? And then the Q, what do you think about big time, man? Have you had experience with this?
Big time, I have seen a bunch of people getting involved in big time. I think it would be probably an A in my opinion, and I would probably just leave it there. Looks like a good game. I feel like it comes from a good studio, and that's where I would put big time.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I like big time. I like what they're doing. The only thing I would say is that when they've launched here, they didn't launch. There was the content seemed kind of generic as far as how much there was and like the actual content loop. Now I haven't got to like super high levels, but in general I feel like they need a little bit more variety. I'm right there. I would probably rank them an A at the same with the same thing. So I love what they're doing. The game looks great. It
Yes.
had like the actual character dynamic and the movement and just a gameplay in general. The idea behind you kind of being this time traveling guy and like how they did land and implemented that. I think they have a lot of really great stuff going for them. But yeah, I just feel like there needed to be a little bit more content, especially for like people who are just starting out. They've really focused this game as being a co-op, very heavily dependent game. But then, like, it's kind of hard to like co-op with people a little bit that you don't know if you don't have friends that are playing too. Like, there's no real single player content. And I think even though you put the focus on co-op, you still need to I think you still need to provide some single player content and make it easy for people who want to just jump in and play single. Otherwise, you're going to alienate some people, I think.
I love this point. I was thinking about NPCs in open world metaverses at this point because that's oftentimes like what people throw out as like being a negative to the metaverses we have now. They're all like empty. And someone was like, why don't you just throw NPCs in there? It's like, well, that actually seems like a really good idea. I did not think that they could have NPCs walking around in crypto voxels and make it feel like a better place to be. So
right. No, it's cool. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, next up on the list, Thetan Arena. Thetan Arena. What do you
this game,
you guys in chat? tell us about Thetan Arena, and then now Q. What do you think?
Okay, so this game I have streamed multiple times. I liked
Mhm.
Thetan Arena at the time. I thought I was a very genuine. It's on Binance chain as well. I don't know if they moved onto any other chain
Yeah.
since then. So I do like Thetan Arena. I do think they also got the play to earn stuff a little jumbled. But it had people in the game. You know, you could get in there. It fueled my competitive juices. I'd probably put Thetan Arena at a C, because it was probably one of the first games I also showed my gaming friends that aren't familiar with Web3, and they were like, "Oh, I could play this." You know, I could. I like the battle royale style. That's like a game that I'm familiar with. You could earn tokens, although, like I said, they botched the PDE a little bit on the token side, and then there just wasn't that much communication. But I think that the team is not in the US, so that might have had to do. So yeah, Thetan Arena C.
C. I'd probably give it around a C as well, maybe a C or maybe a B. The game itself, if you just take the game outside, the game's actually fun. You know, like I actually enjoy playing Thetan Arena. When I played it a bunch right at the beginning, haven't played it much recently because the same thing. Like I was getting tokens, I had characters that were paid characters, and they just the way they structured the initial play to earn stuff, and then like their drops that they did, like there was a lot of big missteps with this team. And not a lot of communication. And a lot of people were very upset. And the token prices just dumped. And this was like during a bull market. This is when every other project was pumping to freaking to all-time highs. And Thetan Arena was like dumping on everybody. And it was just like, come on, guys. But I mean, the game itself is fun. And I think a lot of people really enjoy playing it. There's a lot of people playing it that have no idea about NFTs, don't give a shit about NFTs or any of these things. They're just playing the game because they can and it's fun and they don't care about earning.
Yep.
And so, for that, I mean, you definitely have to give it like a C or a B because of that, I think.
Yeah. I
but a lot of people,
agree
a lot of people
completely.
in chat.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, if Phantom Galaxies, if that team is watching this, which I'm sure someone from their team is watching the Crypto Stash channel, who doesn't, I would say if you have to delay your tokenomics piece, delay it. You can only launch your tokenomics one time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the problem with Thetan Arena now. It's like the cat's out of the bag. You know, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So So I agree with you
guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. One of my faves, Blankos Block Party, been around for a long time. What do you think about Blankos? Have you played it? What do you think?
I've streamed this recently, and I got some hate because we were in it when what we like to do with my friend who's basically a traditional gamer. We're big League of Legends guys. I take him in there like for the first time, blank, no pun intended, so that we have the experience of someone finding it for the first time, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So Blankos we haven't dropped in since the first couple drops where we got those collections that were really dope. We couldn't figure out how to party together. Okay, like we also the junkyard or the junction was kind of empty. That being said, the game looks and feels fucking phenomenal, way better than it did when they first launched.
Yeah,
I would give Blankos an A at this point, based on the fact that I would like to see them have a little bit more competition with the players on the platform. Like I would like to go into the junction, be able to again feel like there's people there. That was a big turnoff for me. That being said, the game looks phenomenal. Feels like a AAA studio game. Just need players, you know.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and I want to hear what you guys think about Blankos in chat as well. You know, where would you rank it? Personally, I mean, I'm putting it right at the same place as you. I'm putting it at A. It's maybe not S tier because of some recent changes. Now, it was S tier for me at one point, man, because I really liked the direction they were going, but they did make some big changes that I was not a big fan of. They got rid of double jump, and they also like the way that they restructured the way you kind of enter in the game. You're right. Now the junction used to be like this central hub, and now that's not really about the junction at all anymore. Like they've like kind of depreciated that almost. So it's not front and center, right? This whole like brawl scene that they've now introduced, like Blankos, the brawl portion is really what they're trying to focus on. But I think they've lost a lot with the original game that they had. That didn't kind of make it over. I love being able to play other creators' maps and have that be kind of cycled in, and they've really like reduced that down. And you're right, partying with other people is still very difficult. I still have a hard time trying to get people into my party and giving me codes and things like that. So yeah, there are some improvements that need to be made. I mean, the brawl portion is cool, but I think that there was this. They could have done a little bit better of like combining what they had with the new brawl stuff features versus it kind of just taking over everything. That's my opinion.
Great points all together. I also think the expectations talk that we were having earlier in the episode is a little bit of why Blankos maybe feels like we're treating it harshly, because when they first came out, they were like, it's Mythical Games Studio. Like, this is going to be fantastic. Like, this is going to be the answer, you know, and it hasn't been. But if this just came out as a standard studio that didn't have any ties to Blizzard, we'd be like, holy shit, you know, like, this is amazing. So I think they do suffer a little bit from that. Out the gates, they were super hot.
Sure. And I think they can recover from some of this. I think that, you know, continue kind of are updating a game like this and trying to make it more fun. And I still actually really enjoy playing Blankos, but those features and some of those things that it did irk me. Like, hey, this was great. Like, you had something going here and then you kind of killed it, trying to replacing it with something else. And if you just kind of melded it together a little bit better, I think we could have had a great experience. So yeah.
Couldn't add
all right,
better.
so yeah, it's F the brawl, bring back the junction. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. I mean, the brawls could be happening in the junction. Like, there's so much you could be doing. Anyways, but we're not going to get too much into because we got to keep going. Superior, what do you think about this game from Gala Games? They've had a couple of beta tests. What do you think?
I will say, if I do get hacked, because we were having this discussion prior to the episode, if I get hacked, I got to move them down like twice, a couple. But dude, I like that we're at the point where I'm downloading games and it feels like I don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops like I would maybe, you know, connecting wallets and things like that. They allowed me to play for free. That's a big piece to adoption in this space. So I want to say to all the games out there, don't make us jump through so many hoops. People aren't going to do that. So I was able to download this in, 2 minutes, was able to get in, was able to play. It's co-op, so it feels my kind of competition aspect with other people, although it's working with, not against. But Superior, I would put it at, just in my little time that I see it, plus it's associated with Gala Games, it's getting into that S tier for me. But I would put it at A right now.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. Honestly, I would put Superior at an S tier. Even at the state it's right now, man, the experience I get when I play that game is it feels like it's a AAA game. It has a great look to it that's very unique. The characters are well developed. It's funny. Like, the little robot is funny, man. The dude's talking shit to you all the time, and like the gameplay itself feels really good, man. I go in there and everything's so fluid to me. I really think this is going to be the bang. I think this is going to be the winner that comes out of Gala Studio that they're publishing out of almost everything else that is currently around right now.
Have you done some content on Superior already? Because I want to go back and watch.
Yeah, I streamed it last night, I streamed it last night, and then I also played it. I played it before the previous build that didn't have the new characters and things like that we saw in yesterday's build. So yeah, played it multiple times.
Okay, yeah, I want to get involved in like how the tokenomics work there with Gala and all that stuff, and if it's worth it and all that stuff. So I'll go back and do my research.
And that's the thing, like right now, like you said, they're kind of taking it slow. So they haven't, I mean, they did an initial NFT sale for like the first character, the Ronin thing, but they haven't really talked, like they haven't opened up the tokenomics. They're not saying exactly how that's going to work and, things like that, which I once again, you don't want to mess it up. So I don't really mind that much. I know there's going to be NFT characters, which is great. But besides that, and like play to earn elements, I think they're taking that slow, which is great.
Love it. Can I just say that Townstar feels like it's starting to become a like blister or a bad spot on my list here. Like, I feel like everything's kind of in spot, but Townstar, I'm kind of just lumping in with all the Gala games. But,
you got time to move it. You got time to move it.
I do. Over. Oh, it's fluid. Yeah. It's fluid. Okay.
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Townstar at, let's just go with B. I'm just going to move it down one. I know we can go down. C, but I'll just rank them down one time just to rank them
down to B. All right. We'll take that. All right, now moving on here, Chicken Derby. What do you think about this game? Racing chickens.
I've got a bunch of chickens. I've got at least 25 chickens. I have not raced one.
Big coop.
I was big on chickens, and the development took a little bit longer than I would like. I'm going to go ahead and put Chicken Derby at C.
Going C. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I'd say C or D. You know, I really liked what they were having, but like I felt like this simple of a game should have got out a lot quicker. And the way they kind of do it, like the races too, like I want it to be kind of a live thing, right? So you're waiting around, you get matched with other people immediately, and then the race runs. Not like I'm
Mm.
submitting my chicken and then I gotta wait to like see, and then you can see like the replay essentially, and like wasn't super impressed by that. You know, I still got chickens too. I'm sitting on a big black cock that I can't unload because I paid
Jeez,
2 ETH for that thing.
pause.
So if anybody wants to buy my big black cock, let me know and I'll send that link your way.
Make sure to DM Crypto Stash with your big black
DM
cock
me for big
offers.
black. Probably not something you should say on stream, but hey, shit, we're going for it. All right, moving on. Splinterlands, OGs of OGs. What do you think about
Splinterlands OGs, I will put them. Okay, so the turn-based card, genre, I like. It's pretty simple to get out. It is something that you can test play to earn mechanics and like economies at scale a little bit. I'll go B. I'll go B with Splinterlands.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go B with Splinterlands. Admittedly, I haven't played Splinterlands a lot, but just from the gameplay that I see and the fact that they have been around for so long, I feel comfortable putting them at B.
Got you.
You're
okay.
Unsurprisingly, there's the chat is blowing up on your announcement that you're going to get a bunch of DMs.
Yeah, I'm sure. What do you guys think about Splinterlands? Personally, I would put Splinterlands at S. And the reason why is they have been one of the longest running crypto games. They've been fully sustainable for like the last 4 years through multiple bear markets. The team is amazing. And I really actually enjoy the gameplay. You know, I like card games, and this was a little bit more a casual card game, so it allows me to jump in anytime and play. Some of the systems they have that they've worked out here blow almost every other game that is in crypto in any kind of way away. They have amazing rental systems, all of their earning systems and state, like all these things. Like they've just done it everything well. Everything. I mean, I have complaints too, but in general, everything well. And I feel like they've earned that S tier in my opinion. And like I said, I really do enjoy playing the game too. So trying to take it objectively, and then also the fact that I like it. So S tier for me. But I want to hear what you guys think about Splinterlands. I see Rick thinks S tier as well. If anybody has something besides S tier, I want to know. I want to hear it.
Yeah, honestly, I played Hearthstone for a long time. I was a big Magic the Gathering guy. Maybe my interest in turn-based card games is just not as big as it was, and that's probably that probably affects my rating. So
I get that. So hey, for all those that are curious, here's my big black cock. You guys want to see? There it is. What do you guys think?
On stream.
I'm just showing it. I'm revealing all. Stash reveals all.
Stash to the world.
All. Yep. So this guy's
it's
rare,
a beautiful
and I own him,
big back clock. It's beautiful.
It is. I was really happy about this one, but now at this point, I probably not the best decision, but hey, that's okay. YOLO. All right, back to it.
I'd buy it. I'll DM you after this stash.
All right, let's go with Crypto Blades. What do you know about Crypto Blades?
Haven't touched Crypto Blades. Have seen it played multiple times. Because of that, I think if you have a playable game and I'm not, again, I feel bad rating games that I just am not involved in. So sure. C is probably what I'll give it. It's not like overly a popular game. I think based on what I saw, people were making, a fair amount. I hate to like bring that into my rating actually, as far as like making money as it's related to playing these games. But Crypto Blades C is probably where I put it.
I get you. In my opinion, Crypto Blades 100% wrecked. This game, like the original game, just pretty much screwed everybody over. Game closed out. Then they were like, oh, we're gonna do another game called Crypto Blades Kingdoms, and then they're like, oh, but we're bringing Crypto Blades back. It's one of those same things with like Axie. Like they just didn't think things through. It blew up super fast. That the team couldn't handle it. And now maybe they're trying to make some. At this point, like I don't know why anyone would still be putting money into this game or playing anything associated with the team that developed this game. But definitely, in my opinion, no, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, and totally wrecked, 100%. So,
gotcha. Yeah,
But moving on,
unfortunately, some of these ratings are going to be due to my ignorance on some of the status of these games.
and that's fine.
Crypto
Yeah,
Blades being one of
that's
them.
all good. Yeah, that's all good. Like I said, you know, a lot of these games not everyone's going to know anyways, so they isn't dead. I didn't say the game was dead. I said the game was wrecked. Now, are they still trying to do things? Yeah, there's a lot of teams out there that have horrible games, horrible teams, horrible tokenomics, have screwed people out of millions of dollars, and people for whatever reason are still following them and still thinking that they're going to turn their project around. That shit's done, man. Put a fork in that shit. If they're not dead this year, they'll be dead next year. All right, moving on.
Sheesh,
Spider
getting hot.
Tanks. Another Gala Games. What do you think about Spider Tanks?
Spider Tanks, I'll probably put it B. Town Star level game, in my opinion, when it comes better than, to be honest, better than like the town builder style of Town Star, but Spider Tanks not as superior as superior.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give it a B.
Okay. Yeah, I might rank Spider Tanks up to an A, man. The gameplay is actually really fun, and if you like, MOBAs, I think this is a really cool take on a MOBA. I find myself playing it once again and kind of just getting lost and like not realizing what time it is, how long I've been playing. Like, oh shit, man, it's been 3 hours. And I felt the same way with Superior and some of these other ones. But yeah, so pretty close right there. I think that it's a good game. I would definitely rank it above Town Star, but me personally, I'm tossing Town Star in the rec category. But yeah, Spider Tanks I think is solid there. What do you guys think about in chat? What do you guys think about Spider Tanks? Spider Tanks. Everyone's asking about other games, and like people are like, but we want to know what the games we're talking about right now. Damn it!
Listen, Stash, you started the tier list gaming ranking here. You're gonna get some hate. There's always somebody that's gonna say
always
this, that, or whatever, and
I can't believe this game's not on your list. I'm like, man, we could only have so many games, otherwise we'd be here forever. We're approaching an hour and we're not done yet, so we got to keep on going. EV.io. Have you ever heard about this game? It's a shooter on Solana. Shooter on Solana.
Nope. I've not looked at EV.io. It looks like the gameplay is first person shooter. I like Solana as an ecosystem, I think, more than some other people. I think they kind of automatically look at Solana and say it's kind of a scam, or VC chain is kind of thrown around there. Based on the gameplay, I'm sticking to C when it comes to these type of solid games. I'm not completely into.
A lot of people like an EV. A lot of people like EV.io, man. When it comes to some of the fun shooters, they've done a pretty good job. It's fairly polished. I would probably put it around that category too. C, maybe a B for EV, but yeah, in general, I think that there's some good potential there for long term. But it reminds me like a kind of a Team Fortress style. Where you're jamming on that, and graphics are not the best, but still fun.
Yeah, Spider Tank's getting a lot of love in chat.
Yeah, some love for Spider Tanks. Yeah, look, graphics need some polishing. Vanta said, yeah, I could see that. They could use a little bit of polishing, but still gameplay a lot of fun. Okay, so now we're going to one of my faves, which everyone knows. This is not any secret here, but Sandbox. What do you think about Sandbox?
Sandbox, I would like to see at an S, but I will put them at an A. I don't know if I will have an S tier, man. But if I did have an S tier, it'd probably be Sandbox.
Wait! You can't say it. You can't say yes till we get there.
Okay. We can't say S till we get there.
Well, no, but don't tell people that you're going to rank something on our list as an S. But if it's not on the list, then we'll talk about that at the end.
Okay. I'll
Sandbox A.
Yeah, I put Sandbox at A. Again, I think that if there was the project has big reach. They've done everything as far as like a business development side to get their game to a level where when that next cycle comes around, I think they'll be very popular. Obviously, land prices and the token, along with the rest of the market, haven't done the best. As being a long-term holder, the development as well has been a little bit longer than I would have liked. I think if they came out in the beginning and said you're not going to be able to get on your land for a year plus, that a lot of people wouldn't have bought. But that's completely fine. I think that they're seeding kind of some what's the word I'm looking for here? They're kind of seeding a runway for their team, and I think their team's excellent. Like they have that experience. They're tied in with Animoca Brands as well. So I would put Sandbox at S.
So you're putting it S. We're going S. We're going S.
Is that a rule? Can I not do the S tiers right now?
Oh no, yeah. When you can do S whenever it's an S. We're just going for it. If you're S, man, then it's an S. I mean, for me personally, Sandbox also an S, man. I try not to put too many in that tier, but man, Sandbox checks all the boxes in my opinion. And the one you're right is about like, hey, landowners, if you knew, that you wouldn't really be able to do anything or get on your land, like really be in the game and play it for like almost 2 years, I could see that. But man, everything they've done, the way they've developed things, the way they have launched, each one of their seasons and iterated over stuff. And, some people are like, oh, but you can't play. Like everyone can play it right now. You literally don't have to, you don't have to own anything.
Fair.
All you gotta do is just go download it, man. So if you guys aren't playing Alpha Season 3 right now, it's amazing. They have tons of experiences. I mean, so many more, like so many that there's no way I could even do them all. They've gotten to a point where and we're just in Alpha Season 3, man. So there's so many great things that they've launched there this time. So if you have not looked at Sandbox recently, I definitely say go look at it again because, man, there's a ton of cool shit in there that you can go do and explore and have fun with. And I feel like they're always upgrading. So I definitely agree with S tier with you on that one.
Yeah. Again, another piece where the expectations may be a bit higher than what they were able to deliver on that timeline, right? Like if they
Sure.
They just came out guns blazing. From a partnership perspective, you hit on timing. That's another piece. I think they were another one like Axie that was timed super well. So I think other than that, they're hitting on everything that they need to be hitting on when you compare it to other games in the space.
True. All right, let's go and talk about Forge Arena. This is another shooter. This is a FPS on wax.
Forge Arena. Let me take a look at Forge Arena again. This is one. I think the rest of them on the list, sans Pegaxy, I've touched, but Forge Arena is not one that I've looked at. I don't know. Hit chat while I kind of take a look and give you my fly by night ranking here.
All right. So what do you guys think about Forge Arena? Because I know I got some Wax fams out there. Wax has been one of my favorite blockchains, and when it comes to like really good playable games, my opinion, Forge Arena is one of the better ones on Wax. But in comparison to like other games and other crypto games, does it hold up? Do you guys think it holds up or not? Or have you not? Maybe you guys haven't played Forge Arena. Very similar to like EBI.
Is it okay? So I will rank Forge Arena at B just because it looks like you do have one good graphics, so the gameplay looks good. I think Wax, although you have a ceiling, in my opinion, that you don't get on like a Gala Games or things like this. And when I say ceiling, I mean like I feel like they just haven't broken through with like that top quality game in that ecosystem. So I'll go with Forge Arena being at B based on what I'm kind of seeing. And the fact that they have gameplay, you're going to be able to trade these things if you're on Wax. So you're going to have an active marketplace. So I'll go with
very
B.
active. Yeah, very active. All right, going B. Yeah, I'm probably going to be, I would be kind of like right in a similar respect there. Okay, bouncing back around, Rev Racing. Vroom vroom. Have you driven? Have you rolling around? Rolling in your whip? Rev Racing?
I have rolled in my whip. I hate to do this. Animoca is a good friend of my network. I know they're a good friend of your network. I haven't played racing games in that type of Gran Turismo aspect since probably Gran Turismo. So I want to preface this by saying I'm not the biggest like traditional racing game player.
Sure.
I'm going to put Rev Racing at D.
Going D. Not a fun game, huh? Not something you enjoy.
Not something I enjoyed when I played it the first time.
Get it? Yeah. I might put it around the C level as well. I'm not super familiar with Rev Racing as much as I should be. But the look of it is okay. Like I said, same thing. I'm not a huge racer fan. It does look like a racing game that was probably out about 20 years ago. That's kind of what I would say.
That's the vibe.
That's how I see it. But I mean, when you compare it to other racing games in crypto, like it looks pretty good. That's the funny thing about it, right? So it's all kind of relative, which is interesting.
It's fair. That's good point all around. I'd take that.
Yeah. All right, here's another one, another big one. Gods Unchained card games. What do you think about it?
Gods Unchained has that provenance for me. There is a little bit of aspect of you do have that thing that they've been around for a long time. I'm not necessarily going to put them in the ranking with A, but I will put them at a B here for Gods Unchained. Just because, again, what they were able to do for the space, being a playable game at a time when there wasn't that many playable NFT games, Web3 games out there. And again, I think they've been able to experiment and do some things. Having the lead that they had, you would have liked to see them take over, but it is what it is with me at this point with Gods Unchained.
Gotcha. Yeah, I want to know what you guys think about Gods Unchained. I'd put it at least in A tier, and really it's probably an S for me. And there's multiple reasons. A, I played it since the beginning. They were one of the first games to do really well, and like they have a really good system. Now, I will say that they've had some trials and tribulations, because essentially what happens, because they were one of the first games with a lot of throughput that they needed, they ran into a roadblock and like, shit, man, the stuff just not here. We have to go build it. And they literally did, and they created Immutable, came out of Gods Unchained, and now Immutable is a massive company, and they're they've built this secondary rail now that they need, and so they kind of took a little bit of, not I wouldn't say a break, but they unfocused, I would say, a little bit on Gods Unchained to get those things done, because like, we need this stuff to make Gods Unchained the best game we can, and now they have it. We're really seeing them kind of push ahead. So for me, I'd say A or really probably S tier. With everything they've done, how solid they've been. Now they just launched a slew of new play to earn stuff, which is great. Really improving the game here over the last month or two. So that's where I would. And I like card games. If you don't like card games, then I could definitely see that if you don't like Gods Unchained, like the traditional card games, you won't like this game. So
yeah. I mean, the fact that the team was able to build a layer 2 blockchain, or at least get after it in that sense with Immutable, it's like you're half betting on teams when you're putting this ranking together. I know that a lot of it has to do with the playability of it right now, but what can they accomplish? They showed you that. I mean, Jesus, like you're going to be able to, you're going to be able to bet on that team, and they'll likely get some stuff done. But going back to the chat, Quiet Like is saying A for Gods, but where have they been? That's kind of my experience with them. But again, I'm not as big a card player as you.
Yeah, and I totally respect that, and I get that for sure. It makes sense. All right, here's another popular one, Phantom Galaxies. What do you think about Phantom Galaxies, man? Where are we putting them?
I would love to put Phantom Galaxies in A. This is a game I'm familiar with. I've played the gameplay. I've showed it to my traditional gaming friends who love the game. They say it's like one of the first that they really can get involved into. The ability to not have the it's at baby stage right now compared to a lot of these games, right? Yeah. So that was one of the things that we were talking about on NFT Live when we were watching that Kagi episode. Was there's Phantom Galaxies at an A, Illuvium's at A, like all these games that are really not even, I wouldn't even call. I mean, they're barely in alpha, they're barely in beta. So I would put them at B. I would put Phantom Galaxies at B. It's teetering there on B to C with me, just because it's in that stage of not having delivered anything at this point. I mean, you can play the game, don't get me wrong. The other part of it would be the multiplayer aspect. I would love a multiplayer battle aspect. I get the single player. It's just not my shtick. So I put Phantom Galaxy at B.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I mean, personally, I put them at least in an A. I mean, they, in comparison to when we talk about like, sometimes we're comparing these games to games outside of Web3, right? That's maybe not the fairest, thing. So I try to also assess it based upon what else is in the industry, and even though they're in the very early kind of like beta state, I think they did a great job with incorporating NFTs into a game that was already in its development phase pretty far along. And then the way they've kind of rolled things out, like you do have to have an NFT to play, so there's not as much open, collaboration with the community, because you have to be, invested in that kind of respect. But I mean, when it comes to like really playable loops, like they're doing a good job releasing episodes in a fairly timely manner, making upgrades and updates, and then the storyline actually in especially in this latest episode 4. Is really good, man. It engages you, and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like really getting into it. It's not, there is something there. So, I think they have a huge future for them, and I really think they're going to be doing some great things.
I completely echo all those statements about Phantom Galaxies. I just think that they're at very much in a baby or adolescent stage with their development. So I don't feel comfortable putting them at A. And then again, that's my opinion. They can get to A. They can get to S. I love the foundation that they have to go forward, and the ceiling they have as well. But right now I put them at B.
Yeah. Okay, and hey, people asking about other games and things like, why aren't this game here? Well, once again, we're trying to, we're ranking these games based upon these games are actually playable. You can play them right now, whether they're in beta or they're open to everybody, but these are all playable games. And obviously, we couldn't do every single game out there because it would take forever. But Illuvium, another big game, another popular game. What do you think about Illuvium?
I'm a huge stand for Illuvium. I have been standing for them since I heard about the game. I love also the mechanics of team fight tactics. Like, I'm a big auto chess player. I would put this, but this again, I do not feel comfortable with a game that's not actually out. Although I've seen the gameplay, and this one hurts me. This one at my core, I want to put Illuvium at A. I also believe that they will be one of the first S tiers that of the outside the sandbox that we see, one of the first like gameplay-esque pieces there. I think this one hurts, Stash. I think just to save some time, maybe at A they do have gameplay out. I've seen some gameplay. I like the team fight tactics. For me, it's at A. Can't be at S tier though, just for the fact that it's not out yet.
I would kind of agree with you. Looking at where we're at right now, like I played the Auto Battler. I've been in the beta since the beginning there, and it's cool. But the open world is really what got me excited about this. And until they can, you can play that and get out there. The Auto Battler is not as exciting as I'd want it to be, but it is playable and it's very well polished. It looks good, like the animations, the look of it, like definitely high quality. But we need to get to that open world, baby. Otherwise, it's not going to make it right now for me.
Yeah,
so I feel that
it's tough. I don't know what the leaderboard looks like in that TFT battle system aspect, the Auto Battler, but that's a big thing for TFT. Like if you don't have a ranking system, it's
true. Yeah, and I think they're working all that stuff out too. And that's all like reset daily and things like that too. So it's definitely, and I think they're getting ready for the next play test, and it's going to have updated stuff, and so that'll be cool. We're looking forward to that play here on the channel.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple left.
You're in a team awesome as well.
Yeah. All right, a couple left. Pegaxy. What do you know about Pegaxy?
I know that is it basically Zed Run-esque? Is that kind of
I mean, yeah.
They seem to have picked up a lot of steam, at least maybe 3-4 months ago as well. I'd probably put Pegaxy. I probably put Pegaxy at C. I might get a lot of hate. Again, I feel bad because like I'm gonna get a bunch of hate from people that are like, "What the hell?" Splinterlands should be at S, and I'm like, "Well, I just I see the gameplay. I'm not like an avid player, so Pegaxy probably be at C for me. Maybe it should have been a B, but I'll go C."
Okay. Personally, I'm putting Pegaxy at Wrecked, man. I was involved in Pegaxy. And it just completely tanked. Like they couldn't get out updates, and the economy is just shit now. And I don't know that it will come back, but maybe people are still holding on, I suppose. But wrecked for me, man. Yeah. Some games just got to be wrecked.
I feel that. Speaking of wrecked, here in the chat they're talking about Star Atlas. I'm a big fan of Star Atlas too, and I was getting involved. I got a bunch of ships that are wrecked.
Yeah, me too.
But
got a whole fleet, man. I'm ready.
Where would you put Star Atlas on this list? Just lightning question, because we don't have.
Well, see, now, funny enough, I took Star Atlas off of this list because it didn't meet the criteria of actually being playable. They have like the mini game that's like a clicker, but that's not really anything to do with the game, so I took it off the list. Personally, I knew Star Atlas was going to be a multi-year development cycle. I didn't think like, oh yeah, in a year they'll have this game done. It was very ambitious. It was very ambitious, but in talking with the team and seeing what they're doing, like I think that they will. I honestly do believe they will deliver. I think they'll deliver. It just won't be in the time frame that everyone wants it to be, which is right now. Everyone wants to be like, oh no, it's never. They're going to rug us. I'm like, man, there's people who held on to Star Citizen assets for almost a decade before they really, and like really the game itself is like barely long. Star Atlas very ambitious. I do think they will get launched. I think they will have a playable game. I think it's still going to take another year or two at least. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole there.
Chips and I'm down. Oni for life, man.
Yeah,
let's go.
I'm down. I'm refilling them. I'm playing that game there. Quote unquote game. To me there was like an issue with the tokens and the way it was all kind of distributed and things like this. Like
Sure.
the rabbit hole though. So Star Atlas still betting on you. Still got my ships.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I still think that they're going to do something, and I'm a long-term holder on that one for sure. All right, last three here, so we can wrap it up. Lost Relics, old school. Do you know Lost Relics?
I have seen Lost Relics gameplay. Looked like it was, it has been around for a long time. I hesitate with these because, like with Pegaxy, I didn't know that it was wrecked. I
Yeah.
knew that when it was like popular that it was. So Lost Relics, I'm scared for you to kind of come back afterwards and say it's absolutely wrecked right now. But I'll go Lost Relics at C. Am I going to get completely murdered for that? Like, these are just the ones that I just am not familiar with as much.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Lost Relics has been around a long time. One of the OG games. Single developer, single person development. Not an easy thing to do.
Jesus.
Diablo style-esque, right? Generative dungeons where you're going in, you're slashing and hacking and grabbing loot, and some of it's in NFT loot, which is kind of cool. I wouldn't call them wrecked. I'd also probably put it at a C. One person dev, really amazing effort, but there's a lot of things that they just haven't got to, and because it's a one person dev, it's a little bit slow to get things updated, and then they were wrapped in with engine, which kind of screwed them over, and so that was kind of hard. Still think it's a solid game. It just hasn't gotten any real good updates, and like not a lot of love from a lot of people because it just kind of got buried under the rug, I think, and it's more of a passion project for the single dev that does it. So.
Yeah, that's tough to get involved into a passion project game by a single dev. Just put it out there for like the ceiling of the thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, last two. Otherside. What do you think?
All right. I am going to get absolutely obliterated if I put them at anywhere close to the Sandbox, and I understand this. So for right now, I will put them at an A just because for this reason only, okay? Multiplayer, like I said at the beginning of this ranking, is my thing. I love competing. I love being involved with people at the same time, and there were 5,000 other people in there with me.
Yeah.
That alone for me, I have not had an experience like that in any other game. You could say, Crypto Boxes is probably the closest I've gotten to having hundreds of people in an environment, where I'm with them. And that's a big thing for me. Blankos is probably another one. That was cool. That was the people were talking about the Junction. I think that's one of the reasons why the Junction was so fucking cool, because there was a lot of people in there. So Otherside for me, along with the backing, it's almost like the opposite of Lost Relics. Otherside's going to have hundreds of millions of dollars, and all of this, poured into that project. I think it's got a huge ceiling. I am an ape holder, so obviously I'm a little bit biased, but
Sure.
I don't like the timeline of development. I don't think it's at Star Atlas level where we're going to be waiting like years and like multiple years, but that's the one negative to me is like they have a lot of eyes on it and they're taking their time. Probably smart, but also it feels like we're like, when is this? We're like sitting on our hands with Otherside in a way.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about Otherside and the whole Bored Ape Yacht Club, universe. I don't hold any Bored Apes or any mutants or any of the other NFTs, but I will tell you guys, I do own a piece of land. I own an Otherside deed, and the reason why is I didn't even own it before that first trip, so I didn't get in on that one. But after I saw that footage and I saw the technology that was going into this, I was like, all right, I'm in. I knew right away, man. I played a ton of MMOs. I played a lot of online multiplayer games, man. I understand what it takes to get 5,000 people into one shard or one server at one time with other assets and still being able to load it in it and it be flawless. And that was what sold me. Now I probably put it more in like a B because there's not much else besides what we've kind of just seen from the first couple of trip there, But I think that this will actually develop pretty quick because it is kind of just an open world type of concept. It's not as big of a development as something like a Star Atlas. So I think that you're right. Maybe they're taking their time, but at the same time, I think that it makes sense. And I would probably be doing that during a bear market as well, taking a little bit of extra time. Don't push it, during a bear. So,
yeah, they just because Bored Ape and Yuga have this outsized influence on the NFT space as a whole. You know, a lot of people know NFTs just based on Eminem or Snoop Dogg having that video and things like this. So that, yeah, I'm getting a little feedback there, but yeah. So Otherside for me is definitely something I'm interested in for sure, and I'm going to be doing all the trips. I've got the other deeds as well. They've been very hush hush, like Yuga likes to do on the information, so we don't really know what the fuck is a coda. Like that's a meme at this point, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my negative to Otherside, and they seem to get a lot of hate from like the outside community. Or when I say outside, I mean like people inside the NFT community that aren't in Otherside feel like they bash it a bunch.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, kind of looking at some chat and stuff like that here too. You know, people kind of comparing like some of these games, like no one would play any of these games. These games are all shit because the only way the reason you play them is because of crypto. And I'm like, you know, and then he cites, oh, they're not WoW or Fallout or Elder Scrolls. That is true. None of these are WoW, Fallout, Elder Scrolls. But neither are the other 10,000 plus games that hit the Steam store like every month, and people still play them. So you know what I'm saying? So like you could compare them to like the top games that have ever existed in gaming, and be like, oh, but these games are crap compared to WoW or Fallout or Elder Scrolls that have been around for decades. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, sure, a lot of things are. Even shit that's being developed by AAA studios right now are going to fail and not be as good as those games too. But I think that we're kind of trying to like, you know, look at the Web3 world here. And the last one on our list here is one of the newest ones, and it's My Pet Hooligan. What do you think about My Pet Hooligan? I mean, when I saw this early on, demos at like NFTYC, I was super impressed. Love what the team was doing, but I want to hear your ranking. I've never ranked them, so.
I'm going to go ahead and put them at a B for right now. I think when I jumped into the game, again, the graphics were fantastic. I thought it felt like, again, it felt a little bit like Blankos in the fact that you had the open world concept, the characters, although Blankos feels way cleaner than My Pet Hooligan at this point. The characters felt smooth. You know, I can see what My Pet Hooligan can become, but it feels like it's still like trying to get there, you know. So much like a Phantom Galaxies, I think a My Pet Hooligan has a high ceiling, but it's just I don't feel comfortable like putting it at any higher than a B.
Sure. Yeah, no, I feel that. I'm about the same. I would probably put him a B. I think that there's a huge potential there. I love the team and what they're doing. Their experience is top notch, and the gameplay is actually pretty fun. I mean, it's very early, so I think you're right. But it's very playable still. You can go in there, you can mess around. It is multiplayer, which is cool. You know, I love that aspect. You know, being able to blast on your friends and things like that. So yeah, I think that they could easily be an A or you know, tier game, or maybe an S here, depending on what direction they go with the rest of their development. So I definitely would agree with that.
I want to give a big shout out to Crypto Buffalo before I get off here too. Me and him worked closely together for a long time on our network, on NFT Live and Lad City. The Hardfork Gaming guys as well. Like big shout out to their whole team. They were talking about My Pet Hooligan like Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is like an OG, like one of my favorite PvP games of all time. I remember being like 12 years old playing Conker's Bad Fur Day on N64. Just like, it was so raunchy. It was so like you were like sawing raccoons in half. Like that is PvP to me. You know what I mean? And like, I think just kind of wrapping up this point, like I liked when I went into My Pet Hooligan, I felt like they could build a lot of cool lore off the cartoons and the style. Like I felt like that area, that city had a lot of potential to like develop lore and develop a storyline along with the characters.
Yeah, totally agree, man. Huge story driven kind of narrative game. And I like that. I think there's so much potential there. So I agree. All right, man, we did it. Tier list, you know, is set. No projects were wrecked in your opinion. And I get that. Some projects you may not know, no wrecked, but we got one S tier with Sandbox. And you know how everything played out here. We got Big Time, Blankos, Superior, Illuvium, and Otherside at A. We have Alien Worlds, The Walking Dead, Town Star, Splinterlands, Spider Tanks, Forge Arena, Gods Unchained, Phantom Galaxies, and My Pet Hooligan at B. And bring up the C tier, Axie, Undead Blocks, Benji Bananas, Thetan Arena, Chicken Derby, Crypto Blaze, EV.io, Pegaxy, and Lost Relics coming at C. Dropping, and these are the lowest of the lows that you rated. Aurori, and Crazy Llama Games with Upland and Rev Racing at the bottom of your list here, and not games that you would want to touch, and not ones you love. So how do you guys feel about this ranking? I want to hear some more in your comments, as we finish up the stream here. Like I said, we couldn't get to every game. So if you're like, what about this game? There's just so many games. I mean, you see this took over an hour just to do 27. If we had added even 3 or 4 more, we'd be here for another 20 minutes or something, So want to give everyone a game its due. But in the comments below, make sure you guys leave what game you think is missing. I mean, we had fun. Thanks so much for jumping on here, Q, and rating all this stuff with me. It's not an easy thing to do, especially when you haven't played some of these games. It's a little hard and a little rough, to do. But I think it's a curveball that people enjoy, and then we get to see some good chat and talk about how wrecked they actually are, which is kind of fun too.
Yeah, Sebastian, I will be taking my payment here in ETH or Sand. Doesn't matter which one for that S rating for Sandbox. Otherwise, Stash, it's always a great time coming on the channel, man. Honestly, consistency at the level you're doing it at is, in my opinion, unprecedented with the longevity that you've had in the space. And I love coming on here. I really want to stream more games, and you coming on here and schooling me on what I should be streaming helps me a lot, man. So I appreciate it. Always fun coming on the channel.
Thanks so much for the love, brother, and right back at you, man. And if you ever need any, hey, what's the game? Like, I'll tell you, and I'm honest, man. As you can see, like even the projects that that I work with, and I'm critical because that's that's what we should be. I'm not over here just like, oh yeah, well, I'm sponsored by these guys, but oh no, then I shouldn't give them I work with Gala, I work with Blankos, I work with Big Time, I work with Sandbox. But if there's something I don't like, I'll sure as shit say it, like I did yesterday on the Splinterlands spaces. I'm in this official Splinterlands space, and I'm like talking shit on them, and I'm like, I'm not doing it because I'm an asshole. I'm doing it because these things are true. Like win land gameplay. You know what I'm saying? Like, did you guys? I think Rift Watchers maybe was launched too soon. These are critical things that we want to have, because not just because it's because I love the game, because I want to make sure that they know that maybe this is my opinion and it could help possibly with development and other things. So constructive. That's what I want to be, at least.
It's good to have you tied into all of these games, because what happens is people just have religious fervor because there's money attached to it, right? So they're like, this is my game. Stop attacking my game. It's like, well, no, that you got to be a little bit critical here. I understand it affects your bags, but at the end of the day, we just need fucking good games. Like, we're not shitting on you because of anything else. So.
And we're getting there. And, like I said, I think we're getting there. A lot of these games, like I said, are very early development cycles. But even where they're at right now, dude, this compared to what we had just a year ago, and then 2 years ago, and then 3 years ago, and then 4 years ago when I started doing this shit and no one gave a fuck about NFTs or crypto games, man, we didn't have much there. But I was still talking about them because I knew they were going to be the future. And so if you guys believe that too, stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here. Go and follow Nifty Q on his channel, Lad City. We got the link below in the description. I love all you guys, but that's all we have for today, folks. Until next time, stash that crypto, friends.